It's my great pleasure now to introduce Mr. Raji Sourani. Mr. Sourani is a leading Palestinian human rights lawyer and best known as the director of the Palestine Center for Human Rights in Gaza, which he founded in 1995. He was a recipient of the Robert Kennedy Human Rights Award in 1991. As the director of the PCHR, Mr. Sourani and his colleagues at the center have worked on numerous human rights legal issues dealing with Israel's occupation in Gaza and, since 2007, Israel's collective punishment of the Palestinians in Gaza through its comprehensive air, sea, and land blockade. He was imprisoned several times by the Israeli military and had been adopted as a prisoner of conscience by Amnesty International. Shortly after Israel launched its latest military campaign in Gaza in October 2023, his family home in Gaza City was destroyed by an Israeli bomb, and he's now temporarily based in Cairo until he exercises his right of return. Mr. Sourani, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Susan. Hard times pushes either or to give up or to stand for a challenge. I think we, the Palestinians, are in our hardest time ever in our history. Do we have the right to give up? Do we have the right to be good victims? Are we defending just for right cause or not? Should we lose hope in tomorrow because of the massive killing, massive destruction, massive displacement, and massive famine? Should we lose hope in strategical optimism that one day we shall overcome? Hard times, the pain, the blood, the souls should motivate us to stand up, to shape up, not to talk as the victims, but as the freedom fighters. We are not a bunch of poor people who need some help, some food, and some medicine. We want Gaza to be the graveyard of international law. Not for Gazans, not for Palestinians, but the whole world. Look, this is the fate, the destiny of those who can say no to masters. For those who challenge and stand for dignity and justice and their self-determination. We have no right to give up. Neither us or those who believe in justice and dignity for man across the globe. For those who believe in the rule of law, of international law, international humanitarian law. I was told by many when I was a young lawyer, just beginning my career as a lawyer defending Palestinian political prisoners, you Palestinians are demagogue. You have big mouth, big words. Why you don't use this civilized Israeli legal system? It's super, It's very Western, and they have fantastic judges, prosecutors. They are the oasis of democracy in the Middle East. As if we don't know that you never ever can have justice and dignity under occupation, under military, belligerent, criminal occupation. But with that, we said, fine. So we began effectively using the system on different levels, from the military court to the Israeli High Court of Justice. Over years, we realized, and the conclusion was simple and clear. This Israeli legal system, it's the one who provided legal cover for the organized, systematic war crimes committed by this criminal belligerent occupation. They legalized torture. The Landau Recommendation Committee and others. They legalized house demolition. They legalized expulsion. They legalized extrajudicial killing, targeted killing, building settlements, even the annexation apartheid wall. When it was built and the ICJ gave its advisory opinion and they say it's illegal and should be abolished, they said, no, we decide and this is legal. After we exhausted all remedies, we began to engage with universal jurisdiction cases. We wanted to use this incredible system, and we filed our cases in Switzerland and in Spain and in UK and many other countries, New Zealand, US, South Africa, Sweden. And we were blocked. By whom? By the legal system? No. We were blocked by governments. They changed the laws. They changed the procedures. In Spain, Maratinius, 2 days after the Audiencia Nacional gave a ruling against 6 of the Israeli leaders to be arrested and investigated, he apologized for Tzibelivni publicly and to the Israeli government, and he said, we'll change the law. In 6 months, the law was changed. In UK, we managed to have against Doron El-Mog, Tzibelivni, and the prosecutor first said, you have to have authorization from the prosecution office. So you have to submit all the case before the court to us, and we have to authorize you whether you have basis or not. And then they said, no, you have to go to the Metropolitan Police, and you have to ask them whether you have sufficient evidence or not. And then if they find out there is sufficient evidence, they can submit it to us, and then we can decide. And then they said, we will find out whether he or she, the target, do have or enjoying a permission of immunity or not. And if they are in a visit, official visit, you cannot target them. Anyway, governments protected after years in Europe and US the Israeli suspected war criminals, and they turned for us to be rather mission impossible. When we resorted to the ICC, a lot of hurdles and obstacles put in front of us, but we managed to do that in January 2015. And we departed from there, and immediately Trump came in his first presidential term, and he issued presidential decree criminalizing any who will assist of bringing U.S. or Israeli suspect criminals to the ICC. Fatou Bensouda was piece of marble, of African marble. And she challenged all that with heavy price. And she concluded to open investigation against Israel after 6 years of filing this case. After that, Mr. Khan took over, and Ukraine war erupted. We witnessed very unique thing, very special. The entire Europe and US said, how dare Russia invade and occupy Ukraine? Shame on them. The West should stand for its principles against invasion and occupation. And we have to challenge that. And we will support Ukrainians' right of self-determination. We will support Ukrainians with their right of resistance, armed resistance against the Russians. And they called upon all Europe and US free citizens to take arms, go join the Ukrainians in resisting the invasion and Russian occupation. We were happy. They used our rhetoric. And they began to speak about international law, international humanitarian law, and the human rights. They began to speak about Russian war crimes in Ukraine. They began to speak about children, women, bombardment of civilian targets, etc. And then they said, we have to sanction Russia. And they imposed waves, 7 waves of sanctions, paralyzed the Russian economy. And they said, we will support it in front of the ICC and the ICJ. And we will help them also economically and with arms. You have to respect the intelligence of the people. They have no respect for anybody's intelligence. Selectivity, politicization of international law, that's the rule. Human Rights ICC office was opened in Kiev 43 days after the war. What about Palestine? As if we don't have invasion, as if we don't have occupation, as if we don't have real belligerent criminal occupation. I would go just the day pre-7th of October. What was the situation in the occupied territories? If any of us don't remember. In Gaza, we have 17 years of criminal blockade, suffocated 2.5 million people socially, economically, and turned Gaza to be animal farm, international community dumping to it some food and medicine. We were disconnected from the outside world. 65% unpaid or unemployed, 90% under poverty line, and 85% fed by UNRWA. So they shifted us to be a nation of beggars. Shame on them. We have the highest percent on earth in university graduates. We have strong business community. We have the most skilled workers in the Middle East. They shifted us to be a nation of beggars. They didn't satisfy with that. More. They launched the war of 2008-9. In the eye of the storm, civilian targets. Goldstone report was simple, direct, and clear. 2012, 2014, the Great March of Return, 2017. The offensive in 21, 22, May 23. This is Gaza. What about West Bank? Ethnic cleansing, Judaization of Jerusalem. Sheikh Jarrah was one of the flags of the crimes committed there. Jerusalem situation ruled out almost and disconnected entirely from the West Bank. In the West Bank, the North disconnected from the South. Jericho Republic disconnected from the rest. Moving between villages, camps, and cities, rather mission impossible. Settlements every day, expanding vertically, horizontally, new settlements are built. Legal settlements, illegal settlements. And after 30 years of Oslo Accords, the peace accords, what we are having, 1 million citizens in the West Bank. 1 million moved to the West Bank. A new brand of apartheid has been created there. We warned from that in 2001 at the World Conference Against Racism. All world civil society, including the South Africans, said, this is a new brand of apartheid, more bloody and more brutal. When His Excellency KK didn't move after October 7th, we kept from day one feeding him with facts, with informations, with what's needed. He reacted by visiting the Israeli victims. He didn't listen to us. That's why we began to look for alternatives. And that's why we resorted to many countries, mainly Ireland and South Africa. And luckily, South Africa reacted positively and went with that, and 28th of December, they filed the case at the ICJ. January 11th, South Africa made history. And they showed the moral, human, and legal superiority on the West when they represented in the best way possible the blood, pain, and suffering of the Palestinian people in Gaza. They brought it to the theater. They brought the theater of the crime to the stage of the court. And the whole world saw that. And afterwards, 3 provision measures, which is needed badly, was represented, and the court dealt with them positively. But there is no political will among the states to take it and implement it. ICJ don't have the law enforcement agency to do that. States should do that. But this was rather intellectually practiced. They didn't react. They didn't take it. They didn't implement it. And that's why Israel continue with that. They continue because they know they are immune. Nobody will hold them accountable. And they will continue of their declared intentions. In the genocide, usually, you can prove all what's needed as component of the crime. There is one difficult component: the intent. The intent. In our situation, is the intent clear? Is it visible? Has it been stated? In October 10th, 23, President of Israel said, no innocent or civilian in Gaza. All of them are complicit partner in the crime. We will get them all without distinction. Netanyahu said Gazans should leave Gaza. Simple words. He didn't cheat anybody. We don't know whether he meant to the sky or to Egypt. Gallant was super clear. He said, no water, no food, no fuel, and no electricity for Gazans. Gazans are a human animal. We will give them all without any distinction. At least we were able to collect 470 statements as such by top Israeli ministers, political leaders of parties, Knesset members, army chiefs and commanders, etc. So the intent, simple and clear. Why they scared from the rule of law, of international law, international humanitarian law? Is it Palestinian invention? This is the creme de la creme of the human experience. We didn't invent it. But what they are doing evil, violating each article of that. I'm not neither stupid or naive. And I never thought we will get justice from the Israeli legal system or through universal jurisdiction or the ICC or the ICJ. That can bring you max 5 to 10% of the whole conflict. But why we are using it? Because in this area, you deal with simple formula. Facts, standards, conclusions. We have the best well-documented conflict in history. And I think those who worked on this showed unprecedented level of professionalism, of integrity. And they used the law in very effective way. So you have the facts, you have the standards, and the conclusions are simple. They can beat us in any field on earth. They can beat us in security. They can beat us with arms. They can beat us on the battlefield. Two things they cannot beat us with. A, we showed moral and human superiority on them. And that's our just right to do that. And we will stick on that. Always people who resist injustice, occupation, colonialism have to show all the way long moral superiority on their enemies, on their occupiers, on their genociders. We cannot go in the footsteps of them. I want one example to be shown for any civilian in Israel has been killed in the last 20 months. All our victims are civilians. And the second, neither the political parties or Palestinian people raised the white flags. And they said, sorry, we gave up. We will never, ever giving up. As the Irish say, till the last breath. We have a problem, I have a problem with Europe. And I don't understand what 18,000 Gaza children did for them. What's the problem? I mean, did these 18,000 whom has been killed, did any wrong, for Europe? What's the problem of 14,000 women in Gaza with the West? What evil they did? What's wrong with them? Yet, as Dr. Fadl Naim this morning, the director of the Baptist Hospital in Gaza, he said to me, Raji, they just bombed school, and I received from it 22 bodies. And there is peace on parts of people. We were not able to put it together. They are in 52 bags. just parts and pieces of people. Why we are bombed and killed with European arms? What evil we did to deserve all that? Why His Excellency Mr. Trump want to evacuate us? Why he wants to displace us? Forcibly, I mean, displace us. Where to? Why he think, I mean, of Gazans, and he insists to make it his own Riviera? You don't have enough space, I mean, in U.S. But, I mean, in the end of the day, it's a 365 square kilometers with 2.5 million people. The most heavily dense populated area on earth. And he just want to take us, disperse us across the globe. We will continue our struggle. The last 12 days are the worst in the 20 months. The worst on the level of killings, on the level of destruction, on the level of using fire. Almost the north till Gaza City empty as a result of that. Khan Yunis area, almost the entire city and the camp evacuated, and no people there. And now they are developing the attack against Gaza City and the middle camps. In May 7th, last year, Netanyahu launched the attack against Rafah. There was in Rafah and the Mawasi area 1.9 people concentrated in 34 square kilometers. And when we attacked from the east and the north, he wanted to push everybody towards Egypt. That was his final attempt to push Gazans towards Egypt. And he knows Egypt will not shoot at them. But he didn't understand the chemistry of Gaza. Mathematically, all what he did was absolutely right and logical. And the ultimate outcome of that attack was people will go towards Egypt. But 79 of Gazans are refugees. He didn't know these people have the Nakba trauma deep in their heart and mind. And never again. Never again Palestinians will have a new Nakba. They were not instructed by anybody. But that's the hard chemistry of Gaza. And that's why everybody, instead of going south, they just went back north. Now, he's repeating that again by attacking the north, trying to push everybody towards the south, and trying to concentrate them. And I can assure you, I hope this doesn't happen again. But what at this time we are having, we didn't have the famine on this level. In the last 12 days, hardly anybody in Gaza can have a meal in 4 days or 3 days. I'm talking about women, children, old, young, whatever. Once again, with what I began with, we are in a very hard time. We are strong enough to confront this bloody criminal occupation who's doing the genocide at the daylight with intent, declared intent. And it's broadcasted in live stream. But we know we are on the right side of history. We know we are the stones of the valley. We have been there since ever, and we will continue there forever. And we will invest our best to bring dignity, justice for our people. We are entitled for our right of self-determination, and we have no right to be good victims for genociders in the 21st century. Thank you.